Stop using church intimidation, control and manipulation. Jezebel and all them spirits fall back, not trying to hear it. Go with Jesus, walk in peace. On your pew can sit that beast that we're fighting in the world. I'm that JC Supergirl, Jesus Christ, belt of truth, arm of God, I'm slaying you. Power of the word, two-edged sword. MC Heaven rocks for her Lord. Thought they crept in unaware, didn't see the gatekeeper standing right there. Not getting down with your tactics, undoctrinal practice.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome again to the Crystal Jones Show, the show that's all about life's balance. I greet you in the name of Ahaya, Bahashem Yeshaya, Warawak Kwadash. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your talk show host, Crystal Jones. Let's start with how you can check out my show. Every Saturday from 7 to 8 p.m. on the BronxNet channel. You can go to bronxnet.org and you can watch channel 951, 2137, the Inspired channel, on your cable channels as well. All right. Also, check me out on my YouTube channel. Okay, you can always go there and see the latest episodes. You can like and share my videos and subscribe to the channel. Help us grow the channel and get the information out that you get from the show. Okay, so also my contact information, you can go to Facebook, Crystal Jones Pictures and Videos. Check me out on Instagram. Daily, usually I have Bible quotes that will encourage and inspire you. And also check me out on HebrewConnect.tv as well. All right. Okay, so we're going to always start with the scripture of the day. The word of God comes first, right? So we're going to be in the book of Esther for the month of February. So when you see the show, it'll be the month of February where we're celebrating the Feast of Purim, where one of our ancestors, Queen Esther, because of her obedience to the Lord through her uncle, she helped to save the Jews at that time alive. This was when we were in captivity in Persia. We were in many captivities, y'all. I think this is like number 12, all right? So at this time, we were in Persian captivity. And at our Queen Esther, she was the one who made it happen that we were saved alive because they were going to kill all of our people. All right. So again, I'm still on the topic of Hebrew Israelite women in the Bible and today. So a lot of times we've had to sacrifice things to save our people alive. So this was a sister back in the day that did what the Lord wanted her to do. It wasn't an easy choice to make, but she did it. So we thank God for her. And these are some of the things I want you all to see, what we did back in the Bible. And of course, today, a lot of our women, Hebrew Israelite women, make sacrifices to, for the good of our people. So I want to put that before us to encourage us to keep going in the right direction and being that humble, holy person, not a pushover or nothing like that, but we could do what we're supposed to do with humility. You know what I mean? So, I've been talking to you about that we have to get back in place because there is an order and we have to be that helpmeet for the men. We have to for our men. Okay. So we're going to start with Esther, the 2nd chapter and the 17th verse. And it says, "And the king loved Esther above all women, and she obtained grace and favor in his sight more than all the virgins, so that he set the royal crown upon her head and made her queen instead of Vashti." So we're going to be getting into that today. You're going to see how that played out. Why is it that the king was to favor her? Remember, this king was not a Hebrew king, okay? We were in Persian captivity, all right? So this is a Persian group of people, all right? So There were times that we did intermarry with other nations so that our people could live. But on normally when we were obeying the Lord and stuff like that, so that we didn't go into captivity, we married our own people. All right. So that's what we're going to be talking about later on today. All right. So for today's news, we see that there are so many things happening. I'm seeing a lot of things happening on the airlines concerning our people, where we're being targeted again. Targeted, if our people are they're into sports or something like that, and they're very well known, it seems as if they're kind of picking on them. I've seen it with one of the football players and also one of the track stars. So it looks like we're being targeted on the airline. So I want to say to you all, stay focused, okay? Stay alert, because little things will be done to try to provoke us to, you know, they want a reaction out of us. All right. They want us to be nasty and mean and stuff so they can say, oh, you see what they did? Oh, but they're not going to tell what they did to push us to that point. So I'm just saying, y'all, stay prayed up, stay, vigilant, because the adversary, he is roaring, walking about like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. So we got to be on our toes, on our P's and Q's. Okay. Just when we think it's not, when they say peace and safety, believe me, sudden destruction is creeping around the corner trying to get us. So be aware. I'm not saying don't speak up for yourself, but try your best to not let the anger get the best of you, because they will try to tick us off. All right. So I'm seeing with a particular airline that they seem to be picking on our people, to try to provoke us to anger. So be careful of things like that. Okay. And of course, they're going to pick with people who are famous because they want to make them look bad. Like, yeah, see, this is how they are. They're no good. Right. So let's, be humble and, do what we have to do to maneuver through this day and time, because as we see, things are getting worse. All right. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to our health and wellness. All right. Again, I'm saying to you all, please consider going back to the gym that has what you enjoy. Check out the different gyms and see what they have to offer. But also get a gym that you're going to that has things that you will enjoy. If they have there's special equipment and things that are going to encourage you to work out in. For me, it's swimming. So when I get a gym, I got to get a gym that, accommodates me as far as a pool and the things that I want, and, where I want to go swimming and things like that. It's clean. You know what I'm saying? So find a gym that has the exercises and things that you want, whether they have exercise. Some of us like just going to exercise classes, and that's good. So find a good gym that has good exercise classes that you like, you're going to go to, and it's going to help you. All right. So consider that, because we have got to get in health. We don't know what's going to come, y'all. I'm telling you. So we better get healthy, because we don't know what's going to happen. All right. So also for the business tip, do indoor events where you discuss joining a gym that fits your budget. All right. As well as the things that you like. Sometimes it helps to get with, either your neighbors or even your church. Get together with a group of people from your church or your job and discuss, because sometimes people know different gyms and that could accommodate whatever your situation is, whatever you like, whatever it is that you like to do. If you like getting on the equipment and stuff like that, they may know a gym that has that, but it can fit your budget. Okay. So please, y'all, we gotta go back to the gym. We gotta get fit. All right, definitely. All right. Soon, the winter will break and spring will be here and stuff like that. So even the more so, we should be getting out then too, and exercising and doing the things that we need to do. But eating and stuff like that, we have to, continue to be healthy. Fish, different things like that. That we need to start eating vegetables and different things that are good for our health. All right, let's take care of our health this year. Promise me, you will take care of your health. We have to, okay? And I mean eating natural things. I don't mean, you know, things that aren't natural. I wouldn't suggest you put in your body. I really wouldn't. But, make sure that you're eating healthy. All right? Okay. So, we are down to our credo. Shema Yeshurala. Ahaya Alahaya Nawa. Ahaya Ekad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God. The Lord our God, He is one. Found in Deuteronomy, the 6th chapter and the 4th verse. Okay, so we're in the month of Purim, which basically will be celebrated February. Let me get it here. It will be celebrated February of this year, 2023, on the 14th and the 15th of February. Okay, so that is the feast where we gave gifts to each other and whatnot because we were spared being killed because we had an enemy that was at work within the castle that our ancestor Esther had come to be a part of. And he didn't like us. He didn't like the Jews. Jews are from Judah. We're from the tribe of Judah, that Judah kingdom. You know what I mean? When the 12 tribes, at one point, the 10 tribes had gotten lost and were lied to and told that they were Gentiles and all of that. And at that time, basically, the two tribes that stood were Judah, Benjamin, and sometimes Levi, if I'm not mistaken. So we will call, we called it the kingdom of Judah. All right. Well, no matter what tribe you were from, you were considered from the kingdom of Judah if you remained there in Jerusalem, because the other tribes were tricked into going into the other nations of people that got them to worship idol gods and things like that, like Rome and stuff like that. Our people started following the surrounding nations, and that angered God. But Judah and Benjamin and Levi, you know, at times, Levi, because sometimes I think Levi wasn't there, but Judah and Benjamin pretty much stayed there, and they were called the kingdom of Judah. All right, so as I explained many times before, we are Hebrew by blood, but we're Israelite by nationality. Okay, and the confusion comes in because people are saying, well, how are Black people Jews? Well, because Abraham, our forefather, okay, was called to be a Hebrew. He was called to separate himself from Babylon, from the Babylonian group of people, and that the Lord would make him a separate nation of people. And also the Bible tells you that Christ was what? A Black man. Okay, so I'm going to go over that again so that people don't think, we're making up stuff or we trying to do this or that or the other. No, clearly the Bible tells you that Israelites are people of color. All right. Now it says, and I forgot to put it up, but it says Revelation, the 1st chapter. Y'all forgive me for that one. It says Revelation, the 1st chapter, and the 17th verse. And when I saw him, I fell at his feet as dead. And he laid his right hand upon me, saying unto me, fear not. I am the first and the last. This is Christ. Okay, this is well after he died, after he was crucified, he hung, he died, he rose again, and he went back to heaven on high. He went back and is seated at the right hand of God, right? So he was talking to one of our forefathers, John, on the Isle of Patmos. All right. And he was giving him the book of Revelation. He was revealing to him the things that would happen in the end times of which we're in. So he says, Revelation, first chapter, and the first chapter in the 17th verse. So when I saw him, I fell at his feet as dead. And he laid his right hand upon me, saying unto me, fear not, I'm the first and the last. So he's telling John, don't be afraid, because I guess when John saw him, he was like, he was nervous because now Christ is in a glorified body from when he was seen on the earth. He said, I am he that liveth and was dead, and behold, I am alive forevermore. Amen. And have the keys of hell and death. Write these things which thou hast seen. Right? So I'm sorry, I wanted to go up a little further. It's the okay. It says in the 14th verse, it says, his head and his hairs were white like wool. His head and his hairs were white like wool. He had that white hair that we have when we get old, right? Woolly hair, afro, as white as snow. And his eyes were as a flame of fire, right? And his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. That's black skin. Burned brass is black skin, okay? And his voice as the sound of many waters, all right? So this is what Christ looked like. Not just when he was glorified did he have this complexion. He had a complexion here on earth, okay? And where the confusion comes in is that when Christ was here, he came to gather us back together because we had been scattered. And we've been told for some of our tribes that we were Gentile nations, but we weren't. So he came to gather us back together. But at the same time, you had people from Rome and different places trying to place people from other kingdoms into our land. Okay, and this is where you have the other group of people who are also Hebrew in blood, but as far as them being Judah, they're not bloodline Judah. Just like there's really no such thing as me. I may have been born in America, okay, and they may call me American because I live here, but I'm not an American. You understand what I'm saying? I'm who my father's bloodline is. My father's bloodline is Judah. Okay. So even on the other side of my mother being either Judah or Benjamin, still, those are my people. That's my bloodline. We came from Israel, from Jerusalem. All right. So we were scattered to the four corners of the earth. And this is not to hurt anybody or anything like that, but it's truth. And we have to get back to who we are, the 12 tribes. I always tell y'all every week, y'all know who I'm talking about. Now, Judah is the Negroes, all right? Benjamin is the West Indians. Ephraim is those from Puerto Rico, the people of color from Puerto Rico. Zebulun, people of color from Panama, Costa Rica. Issachar, the Mexicans. Levi, the Haitians. Simeon, the Dominican Republic. Manasseh, the Cubans. Naphtali, the Isles of Hawaii, the Fiji Islands, the Pacific, the Filipinos, the Vietnamese people of color. Asher, the Colombians, Brazilians, Venezuelans, all in that area, the people of color. They're from the tribe of Asher. The tribe of Gad is the North American and Seminole Indians. Reuben is Australia and the different Indian tribes from those areas, those people of color. You're not, the name of that country or land. You're from those tribes. That's the tribe you're from. You are originally from Israel. Okay, so I just wanted to I always like to clear that up so people understand where I'm coming from. All right, and that we have to proclaim our heritage. This has been the problem in America, is that we never proclaim the nationality, because when we were brought here in slavery, we were dumbed down and told that it didn't matter. We were just some Gentile people. They called us all kind of names and stuff like that, and our heritage was stolen from us. All right, so they didn't want us to find out, but the Lord said in the end times He would reveal it to us and bring us back. And He said Judah would be the first to start to bring it, and that's happening. So all the other tribes are coming together. I see it every week. Every week at my church, I see the different tribes together. I see the uh who the I see the tribes of Judah. I see Gad. I see Issachar. I see all of the different people. Simeon, the Dominicans. I see all these different people, and a lot of them aren't aware who they are. They think that they're just Dominican or something, that they're Dominican. They're called Dominican because of where they were placed. Because remember, when we lost that last Roman and Jew war, we were scattered to the four corners of the earth. So we were in every country you can think of. So there are people from other countries too that are part of us. But I'm just letting you know, basically, that's, who our people are in these different areas. Okay, so today we're covering Esther because our sisters, we're going to get back to being the Hebrew Israelite women that we're supposed to be in the Lord. It's going to take time, because we've been indoctrinized with a false doctrine that separated our family and made us like, well, I don't need no man, and the black man ain't no good, and all of that kind of nonsense, right? We stop. Don't do that. Don't do it. Okay. And the same thing another time, maybe I'll talk to the brothers, but more so I'm trying to reach the women. Okay, we have to get back to our own culture, our own people. Our nation has to continue. Our nations of people, the Dominicans, everybody. We have to continue. We have to reproduce and have children. We have to get married. Our young people have to get married. So many things messed us up here. Welfare, all kind of stuff like that. All of that was to offset us. Okay, so that they could separate us from our men. All right. So now we are going to go into Queen Esther, and we're going to find out how she came to be. Now, it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus, okay? Ahasuerus, which reigned from India even to Ethiopia. So he was black. Come on, right? So we're in a black continent over here, okay? Because he reigned from India to Ethiopia, right? That's on the continent of Africa, right? He reigned over 107 and 20 provinces. Okay, this is a King Ahasuerus, right? He's not a Hebrew Israelite. He's definitely of another culture of people, right? That in those days when the King Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan, the palace. In the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants, the power of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of the provinces being before him. When he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the honor of his excellent majesty many days, even 180 days. And when these days were expired, the king made a feast unto all the people that were present in Shushan the palace, both unto great and small, 7 days in the court of the garden of the king's palace, where were white, green, and blue hangings fastened with cords of fine linen and purple, to silver rings and pillars of marble. The beds were of gold and silver upon a pavement of red and blue and white and black marble. So this man was rich, right? He had a fabulous castle The furniture was nice, the drapery, all of that. He had it, right? And they gave them drink in vessels of gold. They was drinking out of gold cups, y'all. This is how good this man had it, right? The vessels being diverse one from another. They were gold, but they all had a different look to them, even, right? And royal wine in abundance, according to the state of the king. They had wine in it, royal wine, right? And the drinking was according to the law. None did compel, for so the king had appointed to all the officers of his house that they should do according to every man's pleasure. So this was a good king. He looked out for his people, like, yeah, we're going to drink this wine. This wine is good. This is royal wine. This is good stuff. And it's going to be poured into gold cups for all of you, So drink up, enjoy the wine, right? So, also Vashti, the queen, at the time Vashti was the queen, made a feast for the women in the royal house which belonged to King Ahasuerus. So at this time he was married to a woman called Vashti. So it was so rich that they had parties in separate houses. He had parties in his castle, and she had party for the women in her castle, right? So Vashti the queen made a feast for the women in the royal house which belonged to King Ahasuerus. On the seventh day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Maimon, Bitztha, Harbona, Bigtha, and Abtha, Zethar, and Carcass, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king. So this man got all these servants, right? To bring Vashti the queen before the king with the crown royal, to show the people and the princess her beauty, for she was fair to look on. So this was a beautiful woman, all right? She was not an Israelite woman, not this one. Okay, Esther's coming along. She coming. But right now he's married to this woman, right? So the king was feeling himself, right? He's a Persian. He's, ruling over Persia, right? So he's feeling himself. He's like, I want them to see how fine my woman is, right? So he told them to bring Vashti the queen before the king with the crown. Put a crown on her. She looked good. It's my girl, my wife. To show the people and the princess her beauty, for she was fair to look on. But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment. And back in them days, if you was married to a king and he told you to do something, you had to do. Come on, right? And he was just adoring her beauty. So maybe she was a little stuck up or something. I don't know. But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him. Yeah, because she embarrassed him, right? Then the king said to the wise men which knew the times, for so was the king's manner toward all that knew law and judgment. And the next unto him was Karshina, Shether, Admatha, Tarshish, Meres, Mersana, and Memucan, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face, and which sat the first in the kingdom. So they looking like, oh, what's up with the king? Yo, he looking kind of sad, like he called his woman and she ain't even come. What's up with that? Right? So they said, what shall we do unto Queen Vashti according to law? Because she have not performed the commandment of the king Ahasuerus by the chamberlains. Like, what's up with her? What we going to do? Because something got to be done here. And Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti the queen have not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes and to all the people that are in the provinces of the king of Ahasuerus. Like, she done made a bad impression to everybody in this kingdom. For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women. Like, all the women gonna see, like, wow, she fronted on her man, right? So this deed will come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husband in their eyes. So you know how they say one apple don't spoil a whole bunch, but it can, right? So she acting stuck up. Now all the women, when their husband called them, they're gonna be like, what you want? What you calling me for? What? Right? So that's going Houston, we got a problem, right? So they'll despise their husbands in their eyes when it shall be reported. The king of Service commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she came not. So they discussing it. It's like, yo, did you see that? She what? She what? Right? So likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king's princes which have heard of the deed of the queen. Thus shall there arise too much contempt and wrath. This is going to cause a problem in the homes of the other people here in this kingdom. If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it be now altered, that Vashti come no more before King Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she. So in that day and time, if you showed out like that, they're going to get another queen. They're like, Bible, right? They're like, see ya, right? So they said, yeah, let's get somebody else. Let's tell the king, forget her, let her bounce. We're going to find somebody else that is better than she is. I don't know who she thinks she is, right? And when the king's decree which he shall make shall be published throughout all his empire, for it is great, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both great and small. So now the other women will be like, yo, I ain't doing that to my man. Ooh, you see what happened? She got replaced. Ooh, right? And the same pleased the king and the princes, and the king did according to the word of Memucan. So, for he sent letters into all the king's provinces, into every province, according to the writing thereof, into every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house. I told y'all the other weeks before, go back in, that the head of the woman, the man is the head. Okay, we're his rib, we're next to him, we're there to help him, right? The head of the man is Christ, and the head of Christ is God. So there's a hierarchy, all right? For he sent letters into all the all the king's provinces, into every province, according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house. True that. And that it should be published according to the language of every people. Now, I'm not saying that to say that the man should be like nasty and no, because the woman is the wisdom in the household. She guides the house. She sets the tone for the house. So we do have place here. So I'm not saying for y'all to be smacking them around, or for women to deal with men that just knocking you up and smacking you around. None of that. But there is an order, and we need to get in order. Okay. Now we're going to go to the second chapter of Esther here. And after these things, when the wrath of King Ahasuerus was appeased, he remembered Vashti and what she had done and what was decreed against her. So after these things, he started to think to himself what his wife had just did to him. Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, let there be fair young virgins sought for the king. They was like, replace her, get somebody else. Get the virgins out here. Let's see which one of them is good enough for you. And let's move on, because she crazy. Right? Then said the king's servants that minister unto him, yes, let there be young virgins sought for the king. And let the king appoint officers in all the provinces of his kingdom, that they may gather together all the fair young virgins unto Shushan the palace, to the house of the women, unto the custody of Haggai the king's chamberlain, keeper of the women, and let their things for purification be given them. So at that time, when you were getting ready to get married, they give you like spices and herbs and stuff like that for your purification, because they had a different way of how could I say, putting that confirmation on the marriage. Okay, they did it differently, way different from how it's done today. Okay, because today a lot of times people just live. Lord. Okay, so Let the king appoint officers in all the provinces of the kingdom, that they may gather together all the fair young virgins unto Shushan the palace, to the house of the women, unto the custody of Haggai, the king's chamberlain, keeper of the women, and let their things for purification be given them. And let the maiden which pleaseth the king be queen instead of Vashti. So they're saying we're going to get rid of Vashti and we get another queen. And the thing pleased the king, and he did so. Now in Shushan the palace there was a certain Jew. Notice that he is called a Jew, okay, because he's a Jew by bloodline. He's not a Jew of conversion. Some people are conversion, but even if you're converted, you're not a Jew by bloodline. You are converted, and most of them are into what they call Judaism. That's not what we're into. We're into the Bible, the King James Version Bible, the Old and the New Testament, and the lost books of the Bible. All right. So there's a difference there too. All right. I want y'all to take heed. All right. Now, Shushan, now in Shushan the palace there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai. Mordecai is one of our forefathers, right? The son of Jair, the son of Shemel, the son of Kish, a Benjamite, all right, who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity which had been carried away with Jeconiah, king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away. Now, remember, whenever we mixed in with these other cultures, it messed us up. And same mess going on now. We trying to get these reparations and all of this kind of stuff. Are y'all kidding me? These people, it reminds them of what they did to us. And also, do you really think let's be real, y'all. No, because two kingdoms can't rule at the same time. Okay. Right now, their kingdom is ruling, but they're on their way out because of the way that they're doing things. They're going to mess everything up. Okay. That's why the Bible says Esau is the end of this world, this, whatever they call it, where anything goes as we know it. Esau is the end of this type of world. But Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, because Jacob is the promised seed. We're Jacob's kids. We got next, right? So now, you say, okay, so now Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shammai, the son of Kish, a Benjamite, who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity, which had been carried away with Jeconiah, king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away. And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther. Her name, they called her Hadassah, but they also called her Esther. Okay, so whenever you hear the name Hadassah, they mean Esther. Okay. Okay. So he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, right? Which would really be his cousin, but in some of the versions they'll say uncle, but really that's his cousin, right? So he's older than her. So I guess she sees him as an uncle. And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother, and the maid was fair and beautiful. So I guess her parents probably were killed during the transition of them taking over Jerusalem, whenever we went into captivity, of course, they would take over the land where we were and kill our people, right? So her and her cousin were left of that, right? So she was fair and beautiful, whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter. So he was a righteous man. He was a Hebrew. At that time, they weren't calling themselves Israelites yet, but it's the same bloodline. The Hebrew Israelite, the same bloodline. Okay, so when her father and mother were dead, he took her for his own daughter. So it came to pass, right? So it came to pass when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, And when many maidens were gathered together unto Shushan the palace, to the custody of Haggai, that Esther was brought also unto the king's house, to the custody of Haggai, keeper of the women. So even though Esther is a Jew, this is how you know we all look the same in that land, because he didn't even know she was a Jew. He didn't know she was a Hebrew, okay, because that continent is full of black people, just of different nations. And that's what's been missing for us here in America. We need to stop calling ourselves African Americans, because we're not. All right, we're Hebrew Israelites. Okay, so um when the king's decree was heard, and when many maidens were gathered together unto Shushan in the palace, to the custody of Haggai, that Esther was brought also unto the king's house, to the custody of Haggai, keeper of the women. And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness of him. So the keeper of the women, he thought she was a very wonderful person. He loved her personality. He thought she was very, well kept, brought up nice, and she obtained kindness of him. And he speedily gave her things for purification. He was like, yeah, the king need to get this one right here, her. She'll make a good queen, and he didn't know she was Hebrew. He didn't know, because we all looked alike, right? Which such things as belonged to her, and 7 maidens which were meet to be given her out of the king's house. So she was given the purification. She was given 7 maidens to wait upon her out of the king's house, right? Because the gatekeep, the guy, the head guy who was in charge of all this, he was like, yeah, she's a catch, man. What? And he preferred her and her maids unto the best place of the house of the women. Esther had not showed her people nor her kindred. She wouldn't say that she was Hebrew, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not show it. Mordecai said, look, these people don't like our people. They killed our people and took over. That's why we in captivity. Don't say nothing, right? So she went along with what her cousin Mordecai had told her, or she referred to him as her uncle or her father. And Mordecai walked every day before the court of the women's house to know how Esther did and what should become of her. So he was concerned. He used to just walk by and see how she's doing, see if everything's going well, because she's waiting to see the king, right? Because soon's going to be her turn to go in and see the king, right? Now, when every maid's turn was come to go into King Assuerus, after that she had been 12 months, according to the manner of the women, for so were the days of their purifications accomplished, to with 6 months with oil of myrrh. Wow, they really, man, you had to really be pure. All right. And 6 months with sweet odors and with other things for the purifying. You had to be purified, because they was looking for you to be a virgin, right? The purifying of the women. Then thus came every maiden unto the king. Whatsoever she desired was given her to go with her out of the house of the women unto the king's house, right? In the evening she went, and on the morrow she returned into the second house of the women, to the custody of Shashgaz, the king's chamberlain, which kept the concubine. So if he didn't choose you, you became the concubine. Okay, at least we ain't gotta go through that nonsense. But anyway, she came in unto the king no more, right? If he figured I liked her, but I'll keep her as a concubine. Okay, this is a rich man. He's feeling himself. He feel like he could do what he want to do, right? And these are people that serve idols too. Remember, Persians, Medes, they serve idol. They do idol worship, right? So, but this was for a purpose that God allowed for Esther to be a part of this, to save our people alive, because they would have killed all our people, right? So because as you'll see, they said that we keep different customs than they do. They worship idols, we don't, right? So she came in unto the king no more, except the king delighted in her, and that she will call by name. All right. Now, when the turn of Esther, the daughter of Abihail, the uncle of Mordecai, who had taken her for his daughter, was come to go in unto the king, she required nothing but what Haggai, the king's chamberlain, the keeper of the women, appointed. And Esther obtained favor in the sight of all them that looked upon her. So she carried herself graciously. She was a fine Hebrew woman, and she looked good, and she acted good. She knew God. She was brought up in the fear and the admonition of, she was a godly woman. All right. So they looked upon her like, wow. Right. So Esther was taken unto King Ahasuerus into his house royal in the 10th month, which is the month of Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign. And the king loved Esther above all the women. Now, here it is. They're in captivity, but he loved this woman. He didn't know that she was one of the people who was led into captivity. He didn't even know she was a Hebrew woman, right? So the king loved Esther above all the women, and she obtained grace and favor in his sight more than all the virgins, so that he set the royal crown upon her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. So she going from the bottom of the barrel to the top, kind of like Joseph. He went from the jail to the kingdom. He ruled Egypt. He went from being nobody to king over Egypt. Esther's gone from nobody to queen over the Persians and the Medes. Look how God works, right? So she was taken unto his house in the 10th month. The king loved her above all the women. She obtained grace and favor in his sight more than all the virgins. He set the royal crown upon her. He said, stop, wait a minute. I don't want to see nobody else. I'm putting the crown on her head and making her the queen instead of Vashti. Even though he has these concubines, Esther is above all of them. Okay? Sometimes you got to be strategic when you're trying to save your people alive. And I understand sometimes where some of our people have come from when they did things like prostitution and stuff like that. Not that I agree with that, but I understand that concept of trying to save your people from other ills, okay? But we got to come out of that type of thing and come into God's glory, where there's one husband and one wife. But I'm giving you an example of how we are supposed to conduct ourselves, okay? So then the king made a great feast unto all his princes and his servants, even Esther's feast. Esther had a separate feast of her own. And he made a release to the province and gave gifts according to the state of the king. And when the virgins were gathered together the second time, then Mordecai sat in the king's gate. Esther had not yet showed her kindred nor her people, as Mordecai had charged her. For Esther did the commandment of Mordecai, like as when she was brought up with him. In those days, while Mordecai sat in the king's gate, two of the king's chamberlains, Bigthan and Teresh, of those which kept the door, were wroth and sought to lay hand on the king Ahasuerus. So the king had some enemies within the gate, his own self, not knowing he had enemies right there that were servants of his right along there in the kingdom. Okay, they wanted to get rid of this king, this Persian king that was now married to a Hebrew and didn't know it. Okay, so, and the thing was known to Mordecai, who told it unto Esther the queen. This thing was known to Mordecai. Somebody came and said, Mordecai, you know what? There's some people gonna try to kill your son-in-law. Yeah, you better tell Esther so y'all better do something about that. Right? And Esther certified the king thereof in Mordecai's name. So he went and told Esther, this is what's going down. You better let your husband know, right? So Esther went and told her husband, the king, listen, my uncle said, blah, 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 come on. And when the inquisition was made of the matter, it was found out. Therefore, they were both hanged on a tree. And it was written in the book of the Chronicles before the king. Now, pay attention to this book, because in the next teachings that I do on this, the next couple of weeks, you're going to see where this goes. And the key chronicle, they wrote this down in the book. Okay, Mordecai's a good guy. He saved the king alive. Why? Because later on, you're going to see where the script is going to flip and they're going to try to get Mordecai killed. But the king is going to remember the good deed of Mordecai. And he's going to figure things out. Something ain't right. Okay? So, I want y'all to keep an eye on that. All right? Now, I'm going to go a little bit in chapter 3 before I leave you for the day for this one. But I love this story of Esther. That's my girl. She did her thing. Bless God for her. And Mordecai, man, you all right. God bless y'all. Y'all spared. Y'all got us spared, because we wouldn't even been born. They would just wiped out our whole nation of people. Now, I'm going to go to the 3rd chapter, but I won't be able to finish up because I only had a few minutes left. So I'm going to Esther 3. Now, after these things, did King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite. The Agagite. Not a good thing, but this king doesn't know it. All right. They're not a good group of people. So Haman, he promoted Haman after having the people that were against him, they cut them off back in them days. They have you hanged. So now he puts Haman in the spot. But Haman has other things in mind, like to take out our people, right? So the king doesn't know this. He puts Haman in authority, right? And advanced him and set his seat above all the princes that were with him. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman. They bowed. You know how they do in, I think, England and different places. They bow before these people. We don't believe in that. And I'm not bowing down before people. Are you kidding me? They're not God. They're not God. You show people respect, shake their hand, but I ain't doing all that. Nah. You don't bow before. You bow before God, not people. Right? And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman. For the king had so commanded concerning him. He's a Persian king. He don't know better. Right? But Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence. But Mordecai was like, I ain't bowing down before him. That thou shalt have no other gods before me. That's not. We ain't doing that. Right? Then the king's servants which were in the king's gate said unto Mordecai, why transgressest thou the king's commandment? So they were upset. The king's servants, like, why you not bowing down, Mordecai? What's going on? Why are you going against what the king commanded? So it came to pass when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai's matters would stand. For he had told them that he was a Jew. So now Mordecai, even though he told Esther, don't tell nobody that we Jews, right? But now Mordecai has to tell them, listen, I'm a Jew. We don't do that. We don't do that. Might high five you. I ain't getting down on my knee. No, right? So, and when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath. Haman was tight, right? And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone. He said, I'm going to get that guy. For they had showed him the people of Mordecai. So now they let, the king's servants had told Haman that Mordecai was a Jew. All right. So we're going to close it out and tune in for the next one. All right. Check me out on Instagram, HebrewConnect.tv, and YouTube. Go to my YouTube channel. All right. Facebook, Crystal Jones Pictures and Videos. YouTube, The Crystal Jones TV Show. All right. And God bless you. God keep you is my prayer. Watch me every Saturday, 7 to 8 p.m. Channel 951, 2137 on your cable channels. All right. And check me out for this month, February, the Feast of Purim. All right. I'm Crystal Jones, your talk show host. All right. God bless you. God keep you is my prayer. And I say to you, rise up, Israel. Rise up, Kwam Yasharala Kwam. Rise up, tell our people who we are, who they are. All right. So that Kwam, rise up. Let the people know who we are. All those people I keep naming to y'all every week. I'm trying to give you a hint. Get out. Let them know. Share this video. Share, like, share, subscribe. Send it out to other people. God bless you. God keep you is my prayer. Kwam Yasharala Kwam, and you always stay balanced.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. And she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn. And she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out.
I surrender.
All right, pal. Get ready for the day, buddy.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
What's that?
Do we have a gun?
You're not gonna get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama!
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Can't believe you're doing this alone.
I've done it before.
I remember. You threw your back out. How you holding up?
Hand me that board.
Nothing wrong with getting help.
I'm good.
I did it when Felicia left.
I'll figure it out.
I know you will, but you don't have to do it alone. That's all I'm saying.
If I promise to look into it, will you drop it and help me build this fence?
Now you need my help.
It can be a real pain sometimes, you know that?
Mm-hmm.
If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
This is a disaster.
You can't be ready for every little disaster, but you can prepare for a big one. Make an emergency plan today.
In church intimidation, control and manipulation. Jezebel and all them spirits fall back, not trying to hear it. Go with Jesus, walk in peace. On your pew can sit that beast that we're fighting in the world. I'm that JC Supergirl, Jesus Christ, belt of truth, arm of God, I'm slaying you. Power of the word to a sword. MC Heaven rocks for her Lord. Thought they crept in unaware. Didn't see the gatekeeper standing right there, not getting down with your tactics, undoctrined.